Jeremy here from Lad SEO. In this video, I'm going to walk through and explain how so many companies online are sitting on traffic and revenue they don't even know about, what should be done to optimize these pages better, and how a site like CRC Distribution could work to target these types of keywords and phrases to drive more traffic and drive more revenue. In this audit, I'm going to break down the current keyword targeting for them, identify which pages need to be optimized better, and talk through not just what to optimize, but the exact type of page that will rank best for that keyword. So the first thing to look at here is over time, their rankings and traffic. Looks like they're trending overall downward over the past year or so, but they do have some little peaks and valleys here over that same time frame. So what I want to look at is their keyword data and a couple specific opportunities individually and what should be done from that perspective. So if we look at this keyword chart here, what I want to do is filter to get all keywords that are ranking in the United States, and then intent. I like to filter by intent as well to look at commercial and transactional style key phrases. And the reason for that, as you can probably guess, is because when you're starting a project or optimizing a website that is already existing and you're already working on the project, focusing on keywords or phrases that can drive revenue is almost always going to be beneficial for you and very likely to provide quick wins for you as well. So if we filter here to look at this subset of keywords here, we still have an opportunity of 3,046 different keywords to potentially rank for here. Now, many of these are sizes, 36 by 3, 60 by 4, and so on. So a lot of these probably don't make much sense to focus on because it's not entirely sure. Is somebody looking for a piece of wood this size? Are they looking for a gasket, a bearing, whatever? And these by themselves, probably not super highly targeted, unless it is a specific part number that is only relevant for this industry. But what I like to do is look at things like piston rings, aluminum tubing, things like that. So I've put some additional detail together for aluminum tubing. So let's look here first at this page on CRC Online. And it is this page here. Now, a couple of different things going on with this page specifically before we look at who's ranking for this and what else could be done for this page specifically from an optimization perspective. So if we look here, you can see the title of the page here is ALHT 6250X6000 aluminum tube. This looks to be the SKU here as the first part of the title. And again, unless this is a hyper relevant term for within the market or the industry, this is probably not the best structure for an SEO title. It's almost always recommended to put the primary keyword you want to rank for further to the left in the title and or in the H1 as well. So if we look here, do an inspect, what I'm looking at now is what type of element the search engines are looking at to get a better idea as to what this page is or what this content is about. And you can kind of see here, if you look at where the tooltip is hovering over the mouse at the top of this little box, H1.detail title, this shows that this is an H1, which in general, that's going to be the primary focus or primary keyword on a page. And that is good to have aluminum tube in there. However, the actual title of the page and the description are a little bit different. So if we look here, or the description, I should say. So now we're looking at the code of the website, and this is again what search engines look at, and AI as well. And you can see here the title of the page is that same thing, ALHT, the number, the SKU number, and then aluminum tube, which is good. However, the description here is empty. It's not set. So the only description that a search engine has to go on is looking at content from the website and potentially pulling in content that may not be super relevant for what you want to rank for and what you want this to be optimized for. So that is a huge gap from an optimization perspective. Next thing then to look at is who's ranking, what they're doing, and what types of pages are ranking here as well. So now we're looking at the top ranking websites for the term aluminum tubing in Google here. And a couple things to look at here. First, if you look at the URLs of every single one of these, so we have metalsdepot.com/aluminum-products, and then ksmetals.com/collections-aluminum. And all of these, to save you some time here, is aluminum is in every single one of these on page 1. So we have aluminum, round tube, aluminum, 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 and aluminum right there. And if we look at CRC Online, It is crconline.com/item detail/the SKU. So again, unless this SKU is extremely well known, and it is known that anytime you have a 6,250 by 6,000, that is aluminum tube, still, I always like to make it very easy for a search engine and AI to understand what this page is about. And without having aluminum in the URL, it makes it more difficult for you to rank for those terms. So fixing that would be something that would very likely improve rankings. Now, the other thing to look at then is page type. So if we look here, let's open up Metals Depot, and well, actually a couple of these we can tell just from the structure, like collections. This is a collection page here on this one. Metals Depot, is this an individual product? No, this is a collection style page. What that means is it's a general page about the product type. So about aluminum round tube, talking a little bit about the tubing itself, and then it gets into some specs, some additional info, available sizes, and then we have a list of the potential products that match this same category. Same thing here on KS Metals. This looks like a collection style page. So we have aluminum collection, talks a little bit about the collection itself, and then we have the individual products that match that collection. And then let's just do this plain tubing. This one might be an individual. This is an individual product page. Home Depot. This is a category or collection style page here. So this one is, again, just a list of the products that make sense. And then if we go back to, let's do one more, this one. So we'll look at the top 5. This is another collection style page. So 4 of the top 5 are collection style pages that are ranking in Google for the keyword or phrase. And again, just to confirm and clarify if you're confused about that, a collection page is a page that is about the category itself. So about the topic. A product page is a page that has an individual product that's featured with the exact price. Now, a collection page, as you see here, could have prices for individual products here, but it looks like this is more of a category or collection page because you can see 101 products within this category. So hopefully that makes sense and is clear about what that means. Now, what that tells me then is 4 of the top 5 ranking sites organically match a collection style or a category style page and not an individual product page. So to match that same intent that is ranking right now in search, it would make sense to instead focus optimization on a category or collection style page instead of an individual product page. And what that does then is allows you to have additional content about the category or collection to potentially rank for even more keywords or phrases that make sense and can help drive additional revenue. And what I mean by that also is if we look at this keyword set for aluminum tubing, first, if we go into here, this list here now shows 2,077 different keywords that all include aluminum tubing. And the reason why this is important is because there are 31,000 searches per month of this category or a collection of keywords here, 44,000 searches globally. Now, there are a lot of keywords in here that may not make sense or be relevant for your offerings. For example, if you don't offer square tubing, then don't include that content on your site. Or if you don't have round or rectangular or whatever, same thing. You do not need to include that. Also, if you don't have telescoping or 1 inch or whatever, again, the point here isn't to nitpick exact keywords that make sense for your specific case. It's to look here and get an idea of dozens or hundreds of additional keywords that would make sense to have on your site somewhere that customers are searching for right now, and they don't know about you necessarily, but they know about the product they're looking for. So if you don't have that content on your site, it's going to be much more difficult for you to rank for that keyword or phrase. If you do, on the flip side, if you do have it, it makes it easier for you to rank. And if you have it and it makes perfect sense with your products that you have, there's a great likelihood that you can turn those visitors into revenue. And then lastly, from this same content perspective, if we look at the questions here, this is a massive opportunity for AI rankings. What I mean by that is getting content on your site that answers specific questions that your customers currently have. What you can do is have a question and answer section on a collection page. So you would have the question itself, then the answer, and mark it up correctly. AI can read this content, and also your customers can, of course, And it can help to, again, turn visitors into revenue for you. And that's the whole purpose of doing this entire process. Now, back to how I would recommend setting this page up and what should be done from that perspective. I want to show you this tool here called Neuron Writer. So what I do here is I put the information in here for the current page itself. And you can see here, I've added in the title and the description here as well. So the current title is ALHT, again, like we've talked about, aluminum tube. The description, this is what was pulled from Google. If we did a site operator search in Google, this is what shows for the description. So I just added this in here. Now, next thing to look at then is the content itself. So what I do is I take this full page of content. So I just went and selected all of this content. I didn't include the footer or the call to action section there at the bottom, but we add in all that content. And then what this does is looks at the top 10 ranking sites in Google for the keyword aluminum tubing. You can see here at the top. And it looks at how well we match in terms of word length, headings, heading optimization, title optimization, and then keyword inclusion as well. So if I remove my video here, you can see on the right side, this is where all of the keywords are listed that are recommended to be included within the content. And then we also have the headings. So H1 terms that should be in H1 based on the current ranking websites, and then H2s and H3s as well. So this goes back to what I was talking about initially. When we look at this page here and we look at the inspection, again, we go to this part here. So this is H1. And if I just do a quick select here on all these other elements here, it looks like there are no H2s, which again, you don't necessarily need an H2 on a page. But if it is relevant and you do have content about it, then it would make sense to have that in there. So back to Neuron Writer here. So then what you can do is you get the expected range of content that you need for your page here. So you can see here, it is recommended that the top 10 websites have 554 words. So as long as you have about 550 words of content, you're in that expected ballpark of content you should have for this page from an optimization perspective. And you can also get an idea as to what H1s, H2s, and then other content within the article you should have. So what I did then was optimize this page. We load up the revision here, which was this one. Actually, one more thing here. So you can see here, this is a 31 out of 100 on the content optimization. And this is this metric just from within Neuron Writer here. But you can see here, the highest of all selected competitors is 75. And number one ranking site is actually 61. So again, having this optimized does not guarantee you're going to rank, but it gives us a better chance because we're including more of the keywords and phrases that make sense. So all that being said, let's load up the revision of the modification I made. And once this loads and updates, you can see here 89. And the expected or the content length there is 567%, or 567 words rather. And the title I made was aluminum tube and tubing round metal supplier. So again, we can wordsmith this, make it more specific for the brand and the offering itself. The description I added was buy aluminum tubing from a trusted metal supplier, huge online selection of aluminum round tube in various sizes, shapes, and grades, cut to length and fast shipping. So again, if that's not super relevant, that's something that as I'm working with a client, we would talk about any of these types of things. If they don't cut to length or they have set lengths or they don't offer different grades, we obviously would not include those items. But for the sake of this demonstration here, that was recommended. Now, next thing then is H1 of aluminum tubing. We have some H2s in here now, shapes and sizes. And again, if this content is not relevant, then we would not need to include it. But otherwise, you can see here that we've included almost every single one of these recommendations to potentially rank for more keywords and phrases, and included more of the basic key phrases here. And then the headings included the important ones, aluminum tubing as a set phrase here, and then gotten some H2s and H3s in here as well. And the score is now 89 out of 100. So we are better than the top one in Google, better than all of the other competitors here shown. And this would give us a great chance of improving rankings and improving traffic. Now, last thing then with this is looking at how this would make sense or where this would make sense on a website or on a page for aluminum tube, for example. So since this is an individual product page, like I said, I would recommend changing the structure of the page itself to be more of a collection style page. So if we look back here at like Metals Depot, for example, you can see here, they have content here. Now, I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting 500 words of content at the top. I would instead recommend having a quick summary here. So potentially having something like this at the top. And then what we would do is have the products in the product grid. And underneath it, down here at the bottom, this is where I would recommend including the rest of this content. All of this additional information. And again, if some of this is relevant to have at the top, like sizes or shapes or different parts of this content, then we can absolutely do that as well. But I would include all of this and then include any FAQ section at the bottom also to work to make sure that we're capturing as much of this potential keyword traffic as possible. And then lastly, what does this look like when this is all done correctly? So this is a screenshot here of a client I'm currently working on. Started working with them about the start of 2025. So you can see here, I'll scroll around this image here. You can see organic keywords growing, organic traffic growing. And then if we look at US-based traffic is up significantly. Non-branded traffic is up more than branded, which is great. We are doing some informational style articles, but we're also increasing rankings for commercial and transactional style key phrases as well, which is the whole purpose of doing any of this. So hopefully you got some value from this video. I basically wanted to just share with you a little bit about the process of looking at types of sites that rank, or types of pages that rank rather, for a given keyword or phrase, and what should be done to match that same intent so that you can target and have the best chance at ranking for keywords and phrases that actually make sense to drive revenue for your brand. And if you got some value from this video, subscribe to my channel. I plan to continue posting videos like this, especially related to industrial and manufacturing style topics, to help you understand better about what goes into optimizing a website and how to make it so that you could rank in organic search and in AI as well. And that's it. I'll see you on the next one.